everyone, this is part 3 of my story. Yesterday was talking about my dizziness and being away at Point Loma, and today I'm going to talk to you about what happened once I got home from Point Loma. Once I got home, I went and saw my general practitioner, who did just a couple basic tests. She couldn't find anything wrong, so she sent me to an ENT, which is an ear, nose, and throat doctor. He did some hearing tests, some balance tests, and he also ran a test where they shoot hot and cold air into your ears at different times, and you have to follow a light on the wall, and it makes you really dizzy. But it's basically just to check your inner ear. And that test came back normal, of course. So based on my symptoms and the tests that he did, he diagnosed me with Meniere's disease. And if you don't know what Meniere's disease, normally it affects like men 65 and older. I mean, it can happen in younger individuals, but the majority of people that have Meniere's disease are 65 and older. But he's the doctor, so I took the diagnosis and he gave me some medication for it. I started taking the medicine, and within a day I had the most intense burning headaches I've ever had in my entire life. They were debilitating, and that continued for a couple of days until I was like, I'm not taking this medicine anymore. I stopped taking it, and we went and saw a second ENT because we didn't like the first one anymore. He referred us to a neurologist who is like the dizziness specialist of Arizona, and he teaches at a bunch of different conventions, and basically he is very well known. So I went and saw him. He was a great guy. He diagnosed me with vestibular migraine. It was funny because he was like, no, this is not Meniere's. I don't know why the other doctor would diagnose you with that. It's not. Instead, it's vestibular migraine. Now, vestibular migraine is not like a migraine in your head. It's more like migraine in the back of your head, and it deals with the blood vessels constricting. So he put me on medication for that, and within a couple of months I was back on my feet again, because up until that point I had just been so sick, unable to get out of bed and do anything. It was really awful. But thanks to this medication and this new diagnosis, I was on my feet again. I started working at Dippin' Dots, and thank God I was blessed with a really awesome boss who was very understanding. And if I woke up one day and was really sick and couldn't make it into work, he was very understanding and was able to cover my shift no problem. He was a really, really great guy. And I worked there for about a year. And then in August, I was feeling well enough to go back to school. Now, I didn't go back to Point Loma because I still needed to be home. I was still dealing with a lot of my dizziness, but it was a lot more manageable. So I started school at Phoenix College, and it was definitely not where I wanted to be, but it was better than just sitting at home. So overall, I was doing a lot better. I was still dizzy on a daily basis, and I was still dealing with all of my stomach problems, but I was no longer confined to my bed, and I was able to get up and move around and work and go to school. And I did have bad days where I stayed in bed, but for the most part I was doing pretty well. I was in a new relationship. I started going to a new church. 2008 really turned around for me. Unfortunately, in 2009 I started to get a lot more sick. The medication stopped working, and I sought out a new doctor, which is what tomorrow's video will be about. So thank you again, guys, so much for listening and for watching these videos. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you tomorrow.